beast.
A decor. He was excellent.
And I'll tell you another great move. They've got him. They had him 3 years for $4 million. If that guy was going into UFA right now,
Someone give him 4 a year.
someone's going to give him 4 a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are things that happened
Recently.
Good things.
Yeah.
Like I have.
There's some that are. I can't wait to find out.
I
Where
have
good or bad.
I have the 20. There's a good moves section, and you may disagree with agree with this, but I thought the 2023 trade deadline was really good. Getting Ryan O'Reilly, Jake McCabe, Shen, and then having Easton Cowan for Sandy.
I have it on bad.
So I knew that you would have it on bad.
Yeah, I have it on bad.
But they got McCabe out of it. Like they still have McCabe, and they signed him to that contract.
He paid $2 million a year here.
Easton Cowan, who is their top prospect and really the only hope for the future, really outside of that is
Nick Foligno was not healthy.
But he wasn't that. That wasn't that year.
I know, but then I have Nick Foligno.
Yeah.
In that, and I have Ryan O'Reilly, who should never have been traded for unless you had him on an extension coming. Mm-hmm. You needed to lock him down. He's the one guy that you could not afford giving up those pieces and having him walk out the door. Mm-hmm. That's why it's bad for me.
There's some big ticket stuff still to come.
But I just think the thing is, I guess I look at that more of through a fan's lens in terms of like what that meant at that time and the departure for Kyle Dubas and what like ultimately that kind of meant. You know, like remember we were on air that day and Pierre Engvall got traded. Sandin got traded. Like it felt like half the roster was completely different. And
it was. There was like 7 guys. They got Achari and Lafferty.
Oh yeah, right. It's like Shen's on. Like what? This is it was a departure. It was exciting. That was the first time they got past the first round with that team. So like I do look back on that as a positive. There's definitely negative spin you can put on it with the Ryan O'Reilly stuff, but I thought that was a really good trade deadline for the Leafs. Bad one.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, this is the worst one. Not the worst one, but close to it. Spending $7.5 this is all in one offseason. Spending $7.5 million on Andre Kasha, Nick Ritchie, and Peter Mrazek instead of paying Zach Hyman $5.5 million.
I have not paying Zach Hyman $5 million. Number 2.
Rich was great.
Number 2.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Kasha, Ritchie, and Mrazek. $7.5 million instead of Zach Hyman.
Like, could you had Hyman for 5.5 like he got? I'm sure.
That's one that
letting
sets
Hyman go was like
you can make
one
the
of
case.
one of
everything's great.
The toughest decisions on. And watching him and what he's been able to do with Leon and Connor and how much he got better. And do we think do we look at him as a 50-goal scorer? No, but he is the real deal.
But they knew that he was the type of guy who would have longevity by the way he takes care of himself off the ice. He's a pro. He is in the gym. He's a nutrition guy. Like you knew he was going to stay good.
You know what I have as the top best thing that they did in 10 years? You traded for Zach Hyman for Greg McCabe.
Greg McKegg.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's got an arm for a leg.
Sorry. That's like, come on.
Yeah.
That's a gift from the hockey gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best thing you think they've done in the last 10 years?
I mean, it's the biggest clear win.
I think
the biggest clear win.
I think signing Chris Tanev is the number one best thing.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
You're near 1 of 6, pal. Let's wait on that one.
Okay, so I think the second worst thing that happened, which is like kind of encompasses 2 eras and 2 separate things that happened, was signing Patrick Marleau and then what happened because of it.
See, I have that as number 3.
Okay, so we have our 2 flipped.
Yes.
But I think
I have that as number 3. I think it was a disaster for Kyle Dubas to have given up a first rounder to get Marleau off the books that cost you Seth Jarvis.
And you know why they got to get the money off the books? It was to pay Andreas Janssen and Kasperi Kapanen, who neither of them were on the roster, I think, a year later.
But he didn't have to do it. But didn't have to do it. What ended up happening was Kyle rushed it. Eat Marlowe for another year. Just eat it. You weren't ready to win that year.
Yeah,
Why?
that's
why?
they didn't believe that.
Why are you rushing
right.
that?
But
That's not your year to
They
win.
didn't believe that, right?
They didn't believe that.
And was that the year they lost
Because
to
he got-
Columbus?
Sorry?
They lost to Columbus that year or Montreal?
No,
It was-
it was before that.
Earlier.
Maybe
So
one of the Boston
years.
ones. Maybe
They,
20.
they thought they were ready to turn the page.
They thought they were ready to turn the page.
Yeah.
And they weren't.
Yeah.
You just got too horny too fast.
Yeah.
I do. But the other part of that is it was a bad signing by Lou.
I have
That when they signed him,
Yes.
they picked the wrong mentory
pro.
type
Yes.
guy where it's like maybe in retrospect that wasn't the right guy to bring in here. And then they paid him way too much. And Dubas made a mistake trading pairing a first round pick to get rid of a 6.5 is a terrible move.
Yeah.
But Lou has to have some fault in it because it was a bad signing from the start.
I got you guys have these things at 2 and 3. I have 3 things that I consider worse than anything.
Really?
You
Hold
guys have
on.
mentioned.
I know where you're going to
Wow.
go.
Okay.
And mine's number 2.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
I have a obvious. There's no
just get to
comparison.
it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously number 1 is Kadri.
Kadri.
There's no. I mean, it's the worst by far, right?
No.
Well.
What?
Well,
No.
hold on.
No.
Yeah.
Whoa!
It's not
I
the
have
worst.
it.
Don't
Not the worst.
Okay.
I think I know what you got.
Do we need to go to break?
Yeah, break.
Okay, let's go to break, and we will tell you the number 1 reason why the Leafs are in this mess after the break.
I think I know.
Welcome back to the Real Kipper and Bourne Show, Leaf Hour edition of our program. Nick Kiprios, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, as we go over the best and the worst decisions over the last decade with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do a good one just because I feel like we're about
Yeah,
to get
I'm
some
going to
very
do a
bad
good one
ones?
too.
All right.
Yeah.
Signing Jason Spezza was really good. Off of Dallas. He came in here and gave them a veteran element. He
Yeah.
cared, scored
Yes.
some big playoff goals. Need Neil Pionk in the head.
But I'm with you for sure.
He was a good signing.
He gave everything he had.
Yeah. Great fake clapper. Then he would cut out to the outside
Yeah.
and shoot it top stairs.
Yeah, I'm okay for sure with
Okay.
with Spezza.
Okay.
And I think Max Pacioretty should be remembered
I have
in
that
that
in there, too.
kind of that same kind of feel.
I just
That
didn't
guy-
want to do this whole
the,
offseason.
the guy. You just squeezed everything you could out of Max Pacioretty.
Absolutely.
I tip my cap to him
Yeah. He was
for sure.
good year.
Okay, one more positive.
Sure.
Drafting Matthew Nyes,
Yeah, I had it.
57th pick overall
I had that.
a few years ago,
Yep.
right? And yeah, could have used a couple more of those guys.
Yeah.
But at least he's there and he's not going anywhere. I don't see an offer sheet being a threat in any way, shape, or form. So and I loved his comments in the post interviews that I love it here. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm not even thinking about that.
Awesome.
You know, what's funny is like other teams they draft multiple of those guys.
Mm.
They get like 3 guys that are really good from the draft outside of
Okay.
that is allowed.
So
Okay, bad ones now.
do I just go straight to my
Okay,
worst one
so
in 10 years?
both of you guys don't have Nazem Kadri as the worst move.
No.
I have like a list of 3 that he's in there.
Can I guess what yours is going to be? Can I guess?
Sure.
Letting Lou Lamoriello go for Kyle Dubas.
No.
Okay, what is it? Tell me.
Mark Hunter for Kyle Dubas.
Wow.
Mark Hunter
I
would
had that
not.
as a thought.
Really, you did too.
Mark Hunter would never have damaged the Toronto Maple Leafs as much as Kyle Dubas did.
I can't. It's hard to disagree with that now. I don't know.
I'm just telling.